Welcome to Yoga for Golfers. I used to teach a yoga class at the Palos Verdes Golf Club, and the majority of people that came had lower back and hip issues. This, of course, is not exclusive to golf, so really anybody can benefit from taking this class. Yet the biggest challenge with the sport is that it involves sudden moments of exertion and is one-sided. In this class, I will break apart the mechanics required to find balance and awareness in order to feel empowered, whether that be on or off the course. A couple props that you need for this class are a blanket, a strap. If you don't have a strap, you can use a belt or a scarf, just something long enough so that it will fit around your rib cage. A set of therapy balls, tennis balls, or lacrosse balls will do just fine, and a yoga block. And if you don't have a yoga block, you can always use like a textbook or something that's comparable in thickness to this block. We're only going to need it for one part of the practice. So if you aren't able to find something like this, we can still make it work just lying on the ground. All right, so let's get started. Go ahead and grab your yoga strap. Once again, if you don't have a strap, scarf or a belt will do just fine. Take it around the ribs from the back to the front. And you don't have to tie it, just crisscross it in the front. It should be snug, but not too tight to where you can't breathe. The whole purpose of using this is so we get some external feedback on our breath. As you hold onto the strap, do so with your palms facing up, a loose grip, and then allow your shoulders to relax down. Bring your eyes to a close. Visualize your core in the shape of a cylinder. The top is your diaphragm, the bottom is your pelvic floor, and the sides are the layers of your core wrapping all the way around your waist. As you breathe in, notice how your ribs expand out. And you may even feel the pelvic floor expanding down. As you exhale, notice how the ribs contract in and the pelvic floor contracts up. Again, inhale, expansion out and down. Exhale, contraction in and up. Good. So as you breathe in, what's happening is the diaphragm is pushing down. This is creating more space for your internal organs to move out and down into the pelvic floor. And as you exhale, the diaphragm is lifting up, which then your internal organs go in and lift back up into the abdominal cavity. Continue breathing here in and out of your nose. Sensing the movement. Sensing that expansion and contraction. Now, right now, your spine is in a neutral position. And notice if in this neutral position, there is an imbalance of expansion and contraction. Perhaps you sense that there's a little bit more expansion in the front versus the back or in the sides. Really tune into that. Also notice if there's a tendency for your shoulders to lift up and down as you breathe. Keep in mind that it doesn't mean anything is wrong or that needs fixing per se. It is just something to observe. And perhaps your shoulders are just used to being involved every time you breathe. Instead of trying to force or jam them down, see if you can just create a little bit more awareness in the ribs, the full circumference of your ribs. And from shining a light on that, perhaps the shoulders start to soften. And we may not think that the breath is all that important to the mechanics of the golf swing, but when we're combining our breath with the mechanics of movement required to play golf, if there is an imbalance to start with, most likely that imbalance will carry through. Take just a couple more cycles of breath here. Good, and then slowly blink your eyes open, unravel the strap, and set it to the side. So remember what it feels like to breathe in that way that's full and expansive, and we're going to carry that through as we invite movement, release, and engagement through the body. Sit on your right hip, turn your left leg internally, right leg external rotation, left leg internal rotation. Now, if you're having a hard time sitting upright, then you'll take your blanket and prop it up underneath your right sit bone, your left sit bone. That'll just give you a little extra support here. Take your arms out wide like the letter T and give yourself a hug with your right arm on top. Take a breath in. Exhale, rotate your spine to the right. Notice the natural sense of connection mechanically in your body, right? How you're going to start to extend or lengthen through the front of the right hip, engage the back of the right glute, and turn your lower, mid, upper spine. And then we'll just do that a couple more times. Take a breath in. Exhale again, rotate towards your right, look over your right shoulder. Notice how far you can rotate. Notice the connection from your hip all the way to your head and neck. And then do that one more time. Good, and then come back to center. Let's try that on the other side. Once again, if you need to prop your hip up, set yourself up here with the blanket. Give yourself a hug, this time your left arm on top. Take a breath in. Exhale, rotate towards your left. Feel the back of your right glute engage, the hip will extend, and you're gonna turn over your shoulder. We'll do that 2 more times. Breath in here. Exhale again, rotate. Inhale and exhale. Already we're starting to work on the mechanics of rotation from the hip and pelvis all the way up to the head and neck. And this will kind of be our source of testing and noticing how it feels now versus how it feels at the very end of our practice. Move the blanket to your side and lie all the way down on your back. As you lie down, you're going to set up your block under your head, the lowest setting. Again, if you don't have that block, you can stack a couple books under your head. And you want to take your therapy balls together and place it right along the little nook of your skull. Okay, so where you feel that little edge just below the skull. And if you don't have a pouch like this to hold the therapy balls together, you can put your lacrosse balls or tennis balls in a sock and then maybe, put a rubber band around it to keep it in place. As you lie all the way down, you're going to plant your feet to the floor, and again, therapy balls under the little nook of your skull. Hands rest on your belly. And then just start by nodding up and down, like you're saying yes. And then turn your head from side to side like you're saying no. Make sure your eyes are closed, your jaw is relaxed. And again, make sure you're not putting the therapy balls on your neck. They're going to be along the base of your skull. Turn your head to the right and gently nod up and down. And then turn your head to the left. Gently nod up and down. Come back to center and draw the number 8 with your nose on the ceiling. Slow, rhythmic movement. And then flip that number 8 sideways and draw that out like the infinity sign. Go ahead and lift your head up with your left hand. Move the therapy balls out and the block out with your right hand. Lower your head all the way to the floor. Notice any difference in the head or neck, just maybe a bit more relaxed. Grab your therapy balls, keep them together in their bag or in their pouch, and lift your head up. You're gonna place them now right on either side of your spine above your shoulder blades. Lie your head all the way down, and we're getting into the upper trapezius muscles here. Maybe this is plenty, just kind of lying onto the therapy balls, applying pressure and breathing. If you want to add on more, you can reach the arms overhead, maybe starting with one at a time. Maybe you try taking the arms out wide. You can give yourself a hug or overlap the arms. Try different movements. Explore here. And notice how your body picks up on sensation and release. Keep in mind, we don't need to be here for very long, maybe about 30 seconds or so. We're just trying to wake up the muscles in the body and the connective tissues. So now you're going to either lift your head up and scoot your body back. I'm a little too high on my yoga mat, so I'm actually gonna have to scoot down. What I like to do as well, it's another option, is just kind of taking them right in between or on either side of your spine, in between your shoulder blades, wherever you can place them with your hands. You can hold your shirt down, and you can always scoot back a little bit, or scoot down rather, so the therapy balls go back. You want them right in between your shoulder blades, and if you have long hair, just be mindful that you don't pull out the hair as you roll up or down. And then give yourself a hug. And from here, very similar to what we did sitting down at the start, just rotate one shoulder blade towards the floor at a time. Be mindful of the intensity, so if it's too much, you can always just stay and breathe. And then scoot your body back. Therapy balls are going to roll down. They'll end right below your shoulder blades. So what you can do is take your hands to the front of your ribs where they poke up here. And then you can either move just your lower body, which won't be as intense, or you can once again give yourself that hug and rotate your upper body. You can combine the two, so as you rotate your upper body to the left, you can drop your legs to the right, and vice versa. And then move back with your body so the therapy balls roll down your spine. And you want them to be right where your ribs are about to end. Okay, hands to the front of the ribs. You'll feel your shoulders drop back down to the floor since we're lower on the back. And then you can windshield wiper the legs gently from side to side. Good. Go ahead and lift yourself up or lift your hips up. Move the therapy balls out of the way and lower your pelvis to the floor. Now take the therapy balls out of that pouch. You're going to separate them. And you want to place them between your rib cage and your pelvis where your waist is. So you can do this lying down, but I'll show you sitting up. So you can take your hands to your waist where it's kind of squishy. If you push down, you'll feel where the pelvis starts. And if you push up, you'll feel where the ribs end. So you want to take the therapy balls right in between those two spots. Go ahead and lie all the way down. And as you lie down, you may notice at first it's not very intense, right? You may not feel a whole lot of pressure. So what you can do is gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Keep in mind that the kidneys are just below this spot, so we don't want to be too harsh. And even the littlest of sensations or release can really go a long way. Try hugging your right knee to your chest now. You can hold around the shin bone. Again, if that's too much, you can always back up and just go back to windshield wipering the legs. Switch sides, so left knee will hug in, And breathe into that left-hand side where you feel the pressure. If you would like to, you can draw both knees to your chest and gently rock from side to side from here. Good. One at a time, plant your feet to the ground. Last spot that we're going to roll out, take your therapy balls to the upper part of your glutes. So if you were wearing jeans, where the upper part of that U-shaped pocket, that's where you're going to put the therapy balls on both sides. Then from here, you're just going to rock your hips from side to side. Notice I'm not windshield wipering my legs, I'm actually moving my hips. And by doing this, you move the therapy balls from side to side. You can always adjust them, moving a tiny bit up or below, just depending on what you are experiencing and what you feel in your body. Okay, and then go ahead and lower down, moving the therapy balls to the side. Release your hands by your side. Lengthen your legs along the floor and just notice how your body feels on the ground. Notice how the head and neck feels, your shoulder blades feel, and the lower back and pelvis feels. Take a breath in and a breath out. Now we will do some somatic release work. The word soma means living body. And so we get to really sense and feel our body in these exercises versus worrying about what they look like. Plant your feet to the ground. Take one hand above your belly button to the ribs where they flare out a little bit. And then take the other hand just below your belly button to the top of your pelvis. Visualize your tailbone as a paintbrush and imagine that your yoga mat is your canvas. On your inhale, paint behind you. So think like cow pose here. You're going to arch your lower spine and you'll feel the hands separate a bit more because the belly is lengthening. Then exhale, do the opposite. Round your back or like you're painting forward on your mat and you'll feel your belly muscles contracting. Hands get closer together and your back muscles are lengthening. Keep moving through that, painting forward and back along your yoga mat with your tailbone, with your pelvis. Feeling not only the movement in the pelvis and the hips, but also in the lower back, your mid-back, and your head and neck. The chain reaction of movement. Really sense your body moving in space. There's no rush here, so really flow with the pace of your breath. Take one more. And then lengthen your legs out along the floor. Relax your arms by your side and notice any differences now, especially in your head and neck and in your lower back. Now we'll add on spinal rotation. So plant your feet to the floor. We'll start with rotating through the lower body. Cross your left leg on top of the right until the knees are stacked. Think almost like eagle pose, but without that double bind of the ankle to the calf. Take a breath in. Exhale, slowly guide your legs to the left. Roll your right shoulder blade to the floor. And you can turn your head to the right as a natural progression of the upper body rotating to the right and the lower body rotating to the left. Come back to center, inhale. Exhale again, lower body rotates to the left. Keep going on your own. Once again with the pace of the breath. This very gentle, rhythmic movement. Take one more. Unwind your legs for just a moment. Lengthen them along the floor and notice any difference between right shoulder and left shoulder. And again, use the floor as reference here to kind of help you with that distinction. Now we'll add on rotating just the upper body. So plant your feet to the floor, reach your arms to the ceiling, palms together. Take a deep inhale, keeping your hands in line with your sternum or the center of the chest. Exhale, rotate your upper body to the right. Now as you do this, try not to move your legs to the right with you. You're gonna really focus on keeping that left hip grounded. Come back to center, inhale. Exhale again, rotate upper body to the right. Try to keep that left hip to the floor. We'll do that one more time. Good, now we add on here. Cross your left leg on top of the right. Take a breath in. Exhale, upper body rotates to the right. Legs slowly guide to the left. Come back to center, inhale. Exhale, upper body to the right, legs to the left. Last one. It's like you're wringing out your spine. Good. Unwind the arms and legs and lengthen them along the floor. And now notice any differences that you sense between both shoulders and both hips. There's no right or wrong answer, just notice what you notice. All right, so now we'll do that on the other side. So plant your feet to the ground, arms by your side, palms facing up. Right leg will cross on top. Take a breath in. Exhale, slowly guide your legs to the right. Roll your left shoulder blade to the floor. Keep going. Every inhale, you come back to the middle. Every exhale, you'll guide the legs to the right. We're not going for the most intense stretch possible. We're not trying to kill our bodies here. So move mindfully. Breathe mindfully. Take 3 more. Good. Unwind your legs, lengthen them along the floor, and now you may notice a little bit more balance between right side or right shoulder and left shoulder. Let's do that on the other side, but now the upper body. So plant your feet to the ground, arms to the ceiling, palms together. Again, hands stay in line with your chest. Breath in. Exhale, rotate upper body to the left. Try to keep your right hip to the floor. Come back to center, inhale. Again, exhale, upper body rotates to the left, right hip stays grounded. Do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now we add on. So right leg will cross on top. Breath in. Exhale, upper body rotates to the left. Legs guide to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Make sure you get the upper body to rotate first, and then you can add the lower body. Come back to center. Unwind the arms and legs. Lengthen the legs out. Relax your arms by your side. You may notice now a bit more balance between both shoulders and both hips. Reach your arms overhead. Take a full body stretch. Really emphasize feeling the arch in the back body, the length through the front of your body. And then reach a little bit more with your right hand, like you're trying to grab for something just past your fingertips. Notice how that right side of the body lengthens, the left side naturally starts to contract. And then switch, reach your left arm overhead. And then relax. And then reach your left foot forward, point the toes. Notice the shift in your hips and pelvis. And then relax and reach your right leg forward again, pointing the toes. We'll do that 2 more times, creating essentially like a box of reaching in opposite directions. So right arm reaching, left arm reaching, left leg reaching, right leg reaching. Last one, right arm reaches, left arm reaches, left leg reaches, and right leg reaches. Good. Go ahead and hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Plant your feet to the floor. And now we'll get to some activation work. So you can relax your arms by your side. Dig your soles of the feet into the floor and inhale, bridge your hips up. As you lift your hips up, notice if your lower back is taking on all of the work. See if you can distribute the load through the hamstrings, glutes, lower back, and even a little bit into the upper back. So you can kind of press your arms and shoulders into the ground here. And then lower your hips down. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, bridge up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, bridge up. Exhale, lower down. Keep going. Twice more. Good. Lengthen your right leg along the floor, left foot stays planted. Now we will incorporate hip extension with hip rotation and spinal rotation, a really important component in golf. Dig down through your left foot, inhale, find a little bridge in the hips but with a twist, so you're engaging your left glute and turning your hips and pelvis to the right-hand side. And then lower back down. We'll do that a couple more times. Glute engagement, hip extension, spinal rotation. Do that one more time. Okay, so now we will incorporate some movement in the arm, getting some rotation of the shoulder, rotating out externally and internally. Start by digging down through that left foot, extending and rotating the hip and spine. Glide your left fingertips along the floor, starting with the palm facing up. Once you get stuck, rotate the palm down. Notice my hand is gliding along the floor, and then you can connect your palms together. Then you'll unwind, rolling to your back. We'll do that a couple more times. Lift, rotate, and glide the fingertips along the floor. And then unwind the same way you got there. Do that one more time. Okay, let's switch sides. So left leg lengthens, right foot plants. We'll start with just the lower body. Dig your right foot down, engage the back of that right glute, lift and twist your hips, pelvis, and spine. And keep going. Every inhale you lift and twist. Every exhale you lower. Again, inhale, lift and twist. Exhale, lower. So now we'll add on the work through the arms. Press your foot into the floor, lift and rotate as you glide your right fingertips along the floor. Notice my hand is up. Once I get stuck, I turn the palm down and I connect my hands together, palms on top of one another. Then I unwind, gliding those fingertips along the floor and lowering back down to my spine. I'll do that 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale as you turn to the left side. Inhale. Exhale, pause and rest. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, rotate. Inhale. Exhale, rest. Hug your knees to your chest, rock from side to side. Go ahead and rock yourself up or roll to one side and press up. We'll come back into that 90-90 position or deer pose position. So we'll start with the left leg. So left leg is rotating out, right leg is rotating in. Crawl your hands wherever that left knee is pointing. As you bow your head down, just notice the release in the back capsule of that left hip. Know that you don't have to fold all the way down to the floor. You can stay propped up if you're already feeling a little bit of sensation there. So know where your work is based off of what you're experiencing, what you're feeling. And now we're gonna make this a tiny bit more dynamic by moving the upper body, still keeping the lower body stable though. So crawl your hands just a little bit towards your right. Notice how that changes the intensity of the sensation and where you feel it. And then again, crawl another section towards your right. Taking a full cycle of breath at each stopping point. And then find where your end range is, knowing that there isn't right or wrong or better or worse, just finding where you need to stop. And then you'll crawl the opposite direction. At each point, just pausing and again observing what you sense. And then once you find your end range, going all the way towards your left, gently press yourself up. And now we'll do that on the other side. Crawl your hands in the direction of your right knee and bow your head down. And then again, we'll take that and move the upper body, so crawling a little bit towards your left. At each point along the way, you pause for a full cycle of breath and really observe any differences in sensation. Yoga is oftentimes described as skill in action. So by moving our bodies in ways that's skillful, that make sense, and by honoring where we are, we're taking the first step towards connecting and tuning in. And by doing that, it enables us to not just make skillful choices here on the yoga mat, but in our daily lives, right? To feel empowered by our choices and to be authentic in our choices. And then slowly press yourself up. Go ahead and swing your legs out in front of you. And now we're going to take that deer pose position and roll with it quite literally. So start by lying on your back. Roll to the right side of your body and gently press yourself up. Notice that my legs are in that same 90-degree bend or deer pose position as before. Take your left hand behind you, sweep your right arm across, and then unwind coming to your back again. So notice how I'm placing my right elbow close to the body so that I can roll to my back. I'm sweeping the left arm overhead, and then I press into that left forearm to lift up. Right hand goes behind, left arm sweeps across. Keep moving on your own, rolling and lifting and reaching. Roll, lift, and reach. Do that one more time on each side. Really getting that connection to movement, to engagement. And then lie all the way down. Hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Rock yourself up and find your way into downward facing dog. Push your hands into the floor, tuck the toes under, and lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Think as though you're trying to push the ground away versus sinking your chest to the floor. And then you can bend your knees as much as you need. Let your head release for a moment. Take a breath in. On your exhale, walk your hands to your feet at the back of your mat. You can either bend the knees and roll up slowly, or you can bring your hands to your hips and rise up with the flat spine, whatever works best in your body. As you come to standing, take your arms by your side with your fingertips just kind of grazing your thigh bones. Notice the rotation of your shoulders based off of the placement of your hands. Now we're going to work to actively engage the backs of the shoulders, those external rotator muscles. So open your hands and turn your palms to face forward. Now a lot of times we think that in order to stand straight, we need to push our chest out and squeeze our shoulder blades together. But all you have to do to get your shoulder blades to roll on your back and for you to extend or lengthen the spine a bit taller is to rotate the palms forward. And by doing that, you may start to feel the backs of those shoulder blades actively working. And then relax. And then do that again. Turning out, and then relax. Turning out, and then relax. And you may notice that gradually, you can close your eyes and kind of sense this, that gradually your shoulders will maintain more of that external rotation. That muscle memory will kind of kick in because those external rotator muscles are firing. Do that one more time. And then relax. And just notice where your hands naturally rest on your thighs. And you may find that they're, instead of turning in towards your thighs, they're a little bit more turned out or more neutral. So now that we've gotten the shoulders kind of set back and down into the sockets in a more neutral position, we're going to add on to that external rotation work. So once again, turn the palms forward. Notice my fingertips are nice and wide, and I'm feeling the backs of my shoulder blades fire. Now close your fingertips and create a low W shape. So notice my fingertips are not up high above my shoulders. My elbows are by my side. I'll show you the side profile view. So it's as if you're trying to drag your elbows forward and your thumbs back. And you'll feel those external rotator muscles firing here. Notice the tendency, let me show you again, side profile view, for the ribs to flare instead of the shoulders truly doing the work. And then pause here, close your eyes, breath in, and breath out. Again, inhale, and exhale. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Notice I'm in a wide Y shape. And instead of reaching up and drawing the shoulders forward or up to the ears, you're not necessarily thinking like you're trying to cram the shoulders down, but imagine like you're trying to draw your pinkies into your armpits. And you'll feel this connection into your lat muscles here, and then hold. Now see if you can maintain that connection without dropping the arms. You want to maintain that Y position. Take a big breath in, and a big breath out. Good, one more breath in, and breath out. Good, turn your palms forward. Notice my hands are still, my fingers are still closed. Bend the elbows so they're about shoulder height. Same thing as when you were in that low W, now you're in this goalpost position. You want to try to drag your elbows forward and the forearms backwards without losing the height of the elbows. We don't want them to drop like this. Keep them shoulder height. Notice the tendency for the ribs to push forward. Keep the ribs down as best you can and work truly from the shoulders. We're here for 5. Continue breathing. 4, 3, 2. You may start to feel those shoulders burning. That's what we want. And then release. And just notice as you drop the arms how those shoulders have naturally rested in a much more externally rotated position. Just getting those shoulders to kind of roll back and down a bit more. All right, take a breath in, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend the knees and fold all the way down to the mat. Lift halfway as you inhale, so fingertips to your shins. Lengthen out through the top of the head. Exhale, bend the knees, plant your hands, crawl forward into your plank pose. Now from here, think as though you're trying to drag your hands to your toes, toes to your hands. You'll feel the front body ignite. Lean your body weight forward. You always have the option to lower the knees and then lower all the way to your belly. Take your arms out in front of you and make a thumbs up. Your arms are going to be about as wide as your yoga mat here. Lower your forehead to the ground, and then we'll start with just some spinal extension work here. So first, engage the back of the glutes, lengthen your tailbone towards your heels so you can get the pelvis in a more neutral position, and this will help to take out the work from just being in your lower back. Lift your arms off the ground. Notice my toes are still to the floor. And as you lift up, we're not going for a ton of height. We're really more so going for length with that tiny bit of lift. And then lower back down. We'll do that twice more, lifting up and back down. Last one, lifting up. This time, hold as you stay in this lifted position. Take your arms out wide. Turn your pinkies forward, the palms up and thumbs back. Bend at the elbows and touch your fingertips together so you're in internal shoulder rotation. Take the arms back out wide, arms back into neutral, and then turn them into that thumbs up, so you're back in external rotation. Again, arms come out wide, turn the palms up, internal shoulder rotation as you touch your fingertips behind your back. Keep those glutes firing, and then reach forward, thumbs up. Last one. And then rest. Forehead to your hands, bend your knees, and windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Gently press yourself up. Come onto your hands and knees. Have a seat, and we'll come back into that deer pose position. Right leg is rotating out, left leg is rotating in. Give yourself a hug with your your right arm on top. Take a big inhale. Exhale, rotate your spine to the right. Look over your shoulder. Notice the extension through the back of that left hip, and you may be able to see a little bit further. We'll do that 2 more times. And you may also find that you can rotate with a little bit more ease and more control. Let's try the other side. Give yourself a hug. This time your left arm is on top. Take a breath in. Exhale, rotate, look over the left shoulder. Maybe you can see back just a tiny bit further. Keep going. 2 more times. Good. You may find that the glutes, the hamstrings, the hip flexors, or the hip extensors rather, they all kind of work together a little bit more fluidly. And then unwind and come back into that seated position that we started with. Grab your strap, ravel it around your rib cage from the back to the front. Again, just crisscross it and hold on to it with your palms facing up. Relax your shoulders, check back in with your breath. In through the nose, feeling the rib cage expanding out, the pelvic floor expanding down. Exhale, feeling everything contract in and up. Continue breathing here and notice any difference from when you started your practice. Perhaps it's a little easier to breathe, a bit more expansive, perhaps a bit more control. Just a couple more cycles of breath. One more breath in and breath out. Unravel the strap, set it to the side. Release your hands to your thighs. Just pause. Notice the work of your practice. And whether you are a golfer or not, you can still benefit from the work physically here in your yoga asana practice. Because in this class, we incorporate lots of different movements that we probably don't get enough of in our daily lives. Things like hip and spinal rotation, as well as hip extension, just to name a few. And from this work here on your mat, I invite you to continue to explore your yoga practice, not just here on the yoga mat, not just on the golf course, but in your daily life as well, finding skill and action. I thank you so much for sharing your practice. As a symbol of my gratitude, I bow to you.